This is one of the simplest, safest, and most effective meditations anyone can begin practicing starting today. Hello kindred longevity lifestyle designers, this is Zach here with secretsoflongevity.com. Most people are aware that in acupuncture there's 12 main acupuncture meridians, but there are also 8 extraordinary meridians that have different functions than the main 12 ones, which are directly linked with organ systems. And the microcosmic orbit is a meditation or practice or way of moving energy through the body that is specific to 2 of these extraordinary meridians. They're called the renmai and dumai, and the renmai means conception vessel and dumai means governing vessel. So this is referring to meridians. One, the conception vessel runs down the front of the body and the governing vessel runs up the back. Different sort of spiritual traditions or hermetic traditions such as yoga and then also other practices from ancient Europe deal with, have similar concepts and deal with these energies, and they have different names for them, but I'm not going to get into them in this video, but just want to put out there that if you were to research these things, the different sort of traditions have similar concepts and similar practices in some regards. So the conception vessel starts, which is the yin or feminine cooling channel in the body, starts from just at the tip of the tongue and runs down the front of the body in a straight line. If it's imbalanced, it'll be in a straight line, and down past through the genitals and then stops at the perineum, which is sort of that point right between the genitals and the anus on both men and women. To women it'll be sort of right at the vaginal opening. And then the governing vessel, the dumai, runs up the back, starting at that last point, up through the tailbone, up along the spine. It's actually closer to the surface of the skin than the spine, so you can imagine this vessel running through the spine, but it is actually sort of closer to the outside, as all the different meridians are. Then it goes up through the neck, through the top to the top of the head, then comes down the front, down through the nose, and stops at the roof of the mouth. So a lot of Qigong, ancient Chinese yogic practices always recommend touching the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth when doing any sorts of practices, because this connects the 2 vessels. Now, these are not meridians in the sense that there's always energy flowing through them. Depending on where you're at in any sort of practice, that might be different, and one's experience of what those feel like is going to be different. So there's no one way that they should feel, and in terms of actually feeling a meridian in your body, it's never going to feel like a white-hot laser light. It might for some people, or it might during a certain practice for a specific period of time. But these are not things that you feel and they're activated and you feel like you've always got this awareness of this line that's running along your body somewhere. That's a mistake I think a lot of beginners make with any sort of meditation practice. They are looking for some dramatic effect. And it's not to say you can't have dramatic effects in any sort of meditation practice or energy work, but those things are either set experiences or they come with long-term practice and repeated practice of a certain energy movement or pattern that over time develops and gets more visceral. So with the purpose of this, you're actually looking to balance your sort of emotional being and your mental being, your whole physical health. So you're looking for the effects of the health benefits, not the actual sort of visceral feeling of some dramatic event that's taking place. So because these 2 channels are both yin and yang, they represent a large part of your body, the whole core of your body, and they intersect with the chakras, which may or may not exist depending on what framework you're trying to view them from, but they have an effect on the entire being, specifically emotional centers. And by daily doing this practice, you're going to start to see shifts in yourself in terms of your inner awareness of different parts of yourself that you may not have been aware of before. that might sound too vague, but you have to do the practice to see the results you're going to get. And like I said, this is a very safe practice to do if you do it not too vigorously or not too intensely, and just sort of follow the basic instructions I'm giving you here. And if you're not familiar with basic energy work, I definitely recommend this preliminary video, which you can check out right here. Click that button, and this is explaining new energy ways, which is new for short, and it's sort of a way of working with awareness, tactile awareness, to get energy sensations in the body. And in my opinion, this is much more effective than just simply visualizing. It's incorporating as many senses as you can into a practice. Now, these two meridians, because they're yin and yang, when you're working with them and you're doing them both equally in terms of the practice we're going to outline, you're going to sort of harmonize those components in yourself, and it's got a very wonderful after effect for the rest of the day, I find, whenever I do this first thing in the morning, which is a good habit to get into. Like I said, these are not channels that are directly related to the organs. They don't always have energy moving through them during the day, and you can think of this more as a clearing exercise as opposed to moving energy. This is to sort of open these areas up, so that if you were to think of it as a hollow piece of surgical tubing running through your whole body, when your other meridians need to overflow with energy, they flow into this pathway. It's not something that is always full and flowing, so to speak. So at any point, if you ever find discomfort or negative side effects occurring from any energy work practice, including this one, you need to stop, have a cold shower or even a hot shower, eat some very grounding food. If necessary, if you're in a mentally unstable place, do not do these practices. Seek professional help, counseling, whatever is necessary to get you to a stable place. So by engaging in this practice, you're deciding that you're, first of all, able to do this yourself, because you're already in a mentally stable place, and you know that if anything imbalance were to come up, that it's not necessarily the practice, it's your own stuff that's coming to the surface. And there's many ways that one can deal with these things and clear them, so that you can then continue progressing on whatever path it is you're on. So with that new energy ways idea, you're going to be imagining almost like a sphere of energy, just a ball. It doesn't have to be specifically energy, just imagine a ball sort of sitting right below the navel, inside of you, and see that as either a white ball or a blue ball of energy, and feel that sink down into the perineum, so that spot between the legs. And then as you don't focus on your breathing, so this is not connected to the breath, you're going to imagine it slowly rising up and feeling its pathway as it moves along your body, going up the spine. So you're going to imagine it. I've got my hands behind me because I've got my awareness there. You don't need to do any body movements. You can do this sitting in meditation. But you're going to follow that awareness up as it almost rises through your body, up the spine, up to the mid-back, up to the neck, up to the back of the head, and up and around. So if you're imagining this as like a ping pong ball size or tennis ball size, you're just imagining that flowing through as if it's like passing through you. And then you imagine it coming down. And you can at the same time visualize a very thin line in that place I was talking about. So then you imagine it coming down the front, down the nose. You could even imagine your fingers tracing the line. So it's any way that you can get awareness to that area of the body, and evenly moving that awareness around in a circle, the circle being the two lines that connect. So almost like a track, and then you're starting to bring it down the front of the body, and you imagine that tube opening up and being cleared. You don't have to visualize stuff dispersing or anything like that, but if that helps, you can imagine stuck bits of energy or unhealthy energy being broken up and dissolving. And then you continue with that movement down to the navel, back down to the genitals, and then to the perineum. And you're going to repeat this up to 9 times. If you're very confident with it, you could repeat it 18 times, even up to 36 times. And then always at the end, just imagine that sphere coming back up to the Dan Chen, which is again 2 finger lengths below the navel, and then inside the body. And imagine it sort of hovering there, and then just let your awareness stop. So the whole idea of this is not getting too caught up in stopping along that sort of continuous line. There's other microcosmic orbit meditations that have variations on this. This is not to say they're wrong, this is just my preferential way of going about it. And after having experimented with different types of this exercise, even ones with hand movements, what it comes down to is the intention and how well you can focus your intention or attention on the movement through that cycle. You do not want to go too fast, you don't want to go too slow, and you want to be aware of what areas feel discomfort, whether it's emotionally discomforting, actual physical pain, like if you have a back injury, becoming aware and zeroing in on that pain, as long as it's not a pain that's caused by the awareness, but it's actually an injury you have there, you're going to start to bring awareness to that area, and it will help, possibly help that area heal, because it's bringing blood flow to that area as well, and nutrients, and helping restore it. So by going around in the cycle, you're evening the awareness of these areas of your whole body through these two channels. And that, over time, harmonizes and balances out the channels and brings you to a more stable place emotionally and with physical health, mental health, spiritual health. So play around with that, and when I say play, I don't mean recklessly. Just, you could start with doing 3 revolutions, as I talked about, and if you just keep consistent with coming back to that same place and ending it in the same way, you'll be good to go. It's not that complicated. The key point is being focused on the tactile awareness, which is the physical feeling of it, and that any area that feels out of place or has a lack of feeling is going to be a place that over time you're going to find you get more and more awareness there, and it evens out. And this is the idea behind this, is you're opening up the blockages in the spine and down the front, and it leads to greater health. So comment below, let me know what you think, if you've done this exercise below, or if you've just done it now, sort of followed along with me and given it a try and had some sort of beneficial experience from it, or negative. And like and favorite this video if you do like and think it's a favorite of yours. And keep coming back to it to sort of get a better idea of it. Check out links below for ways to support me, and even possibly set up a phone consultation with me. With that, take care, and embrace life without limits.